Let's make my first vanilla birthday cake together. The last time I made an occasion cake, fondant specifically, was when I was in school about over 10 years ago. In fact, I still have some of the equipment which I'll be using, and I'm going to improvise the ones that I can't find anymore. So here I went ahead to wash the equipment to use. Shout out to 12 Star Confectionery on YouTube. I used that recipe and it came out extremely amazing. God bless you, ma'am. I'm making a 10 inches 1 layer cake, though the pan is 9 inches with 4 depth, because I used my tape rule to measure it as instructed. But since I needed the cake to fill up, I had to use a 10 inches recipe. I measured some 50 grams of flour, and since I will be using a measuring cup, I already know from ChatGPT that a cup of 250 ml is 125 grams, which makes it 6 cups of 250 ml of flour. Also, I pour baking powder of 6 teaspoons inside the flour. The next is sugar. Sugar is also 750 grams, and the 250 ml cup of sugar is 200 grams, which means I will use 3/4 cups of 250 ml. Okay, but because I don't want it to be too sugary, I use 3 cups. I use 600 grams of egg. Each medium egg is 50 grams, so I use 12 eggs and whisk it very well and set it aside. I sieved my flour so as to remove lumps or particles and set aside as well. For my preservative, I wanted a natural one, and since I will also use freezer to preserve it, I opted for lemon and I used 1 tablespoon. Now let's start the mixture. I'll be using some 50 grams of butter, and since Simmers is 250 grams, I used 3. I added the measured sugar to it and mixed until it turned pale white, or when the sugar dissolves totally. I started adding the mixed egg, little and mix, then add another little and mix until it finishes. I added vanilla flavor 3 teaspoons and 1 tablespoon of lemon as preservative to it. I added small flour and mix, then another one until it finishes. Note that the mixing is not like the mixing of sugar and butter. It is more of just turning gently. Now this is the time to put the 2 tin milk, but I actually used 1, okay? And then you mix. Put butter in the pan that you want to use and sprinkle flour to it. And this is because so that the cake will not stick to the pan and so it can come out freely. Put it in the oven on low heat. To check the progress of the cake, this is how I did it. Okay, you just dip in broom. If there's flour there, that means it's not done. But if it comes out oily, that means the cake is done. I allowed it to cool down. For the decoration aspect, since it's a butter icing, I used 1 kg of icing sugar and 500 grams of butter so as to avoid story that touches, though it eventually remains. I sieved my icing sugar and put aside, and then I put my butter in a container and mixed the butter until fluffy or turned pale white. Now add the 1 kg icing sugar to it. Add flavor to it, about 2 teaspoons, and then 1 tablespoon of water or milk. I added color to it. I put some portion of the butter icing on the board. I removed the cake from the pan and removed the burnt area and flatten it if necessary. The first thing I did was to coat it with the mixed butter icing. Then I remember I should have used blue color, so I went over it again. After that, I went with the design. Actually, this was not the design I actually wanted to do, but because I got to know that some of the instruments got lost and I wasn't able to get it at that moment in time, I had to change the design and just use a way, to cover it up. So the only instrument I had was this olden days nozzle, okay, to create a dot step by step as a design. After I was done, I sprinkled the white balls I bought and put the happy birthday and 5 on it, and voila, we are done. Let me be honest, I was super scared that the butter is going to be too much, but at the end of it, it actually came out so nice and fluffy, and it tastes good. Seriously, are you going to try this out? Let me know in the comment section. Bye.